And 9 out of 10 times, your pain is pointing you to your own garbage belief system about yourself. Because what other people believe about you does not matter. But what you believe about yourself, that is your reality. And if you believe you're some piece of crap, if you believe you're not attractive, if you believe, that nothing's ever going to work out for you and nobody wants you and all this other stuff, then you're right. Because your mind will find evidence of what it wants to believe. So your whole world is colored by your own negative core belief system about yourself. And so your mind body is telling you, hey, this is BS. Stop believing this stuff. It's going to make it painful for you to believe this stuff. I got to get you to look here, so if I make it painful, you look here. But for most people, they don't quite put that together. They're just like, I'm in pain. I got to run. And so they never learn the lesson from the pain. They don't use the pain as a compass to point them in the right direction. We're all here because of our pain. Greg?
I thought what you just said was extremely valuable, so thanks. The question I had was, and you've already answered a lot of it, which is really understanding the word pain versus I'm very familiar with, mind-induced suffering, if you will.
Yes.
I can identify that. I can tell you what it is. But when you just asked before, what does pain feel like? I can tell you what a bee sting feels like.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't really recognize it. And then it goes right to my head, and then I start telling you. Or I would describe the pain and suffering. So that's what I'm trying to catch it before it gets here.
Right. Perfect segue. Okay? Because what happens is that we start to feel this pain, right? And whether you realize it or not, you get sucked up into your head. Do you notice this? You start to feel pain, and you start this incessant, thinking, typically negative thinking, because your mind is trying to somehow placate the pain, trying to ease the pain, and we're intelligent beings, and so our go-to is thinking. But typically when you're in pain, it induces negative thinking, very negative thinking, and then the pain feeds on the negative thinking. So now the pain comes. The pain then provokes negative thoughts, and then it's just popcorn for it. It's just like, all right, now I'm going to be here a while. And this is what's happening. So the first important thing is that you realize the mechanism of what's happening and how it's happening. Pain is just a sensation. Can't do anything to you. But it is pointing you to something, right? Because something's causal. And sometimes you'll know it's causal, sometimes you won't. Many, many times you won't even know. But a good question to ask yourself in those moments is, where am I not okay with me right now? Because even if you're not okay with your circumstances, there's a part of you that understands. Circumstances come, circumstances go. What's the hook here? Why am I hooked? When you bring consciousness to pain and you realize that pain is just a sensation. You can stop it here. You know what I mean? You can stop it before it gets up in your head and starts affecting the way that you think. You can just say, okay, there's some pain there. Let me just breathe it out. Let me just allow it to be. Let me bring my consciousness to it. And let me just let this sensation express itself. And be unaffected by it. You can have a lot of pain inside you and be unaffected by it, meaning that it doesn't take over your mind. Once it takes over your mind, you're affected by it. But if you remain as the observer of the sensation and you don't allow it to hijack your thoughts, you're fine, even if the pain is there. You may sometimes, if you want to play with it a little bit, is you'll notice that you can start, like you bring your consciousness to your pain. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll bring my consciousness to the pain, and just by bringing my consciousness to the pain, it has an effect on it. I can feel it moving, morphing. I can feel my attention having an effect on it. It tends to break up. But I can also use it to dig out like some garbage thoughts I have about myself. And so sometimes what I'll do is I'll pay attention to the pain, and then I'll start like thinking thoughts about what I think might be involved. You know what I mean? Like around what might be. And I'll say, okay, I'm not good enough, or something like that, or nobody wants me, or something. And all of a sudden I'll hit a thought and it goes bring, and like you hit this thought and you feel the energy move in your chest. Do you know what I'm talking about? And then you can start thinking thoughts like related to that thought, and you may be able to write them down, and you may be able to kind of dig out some cognitive things, some vasanas that need to be seen. And which really ultimately are always about your belief system about yourself. You know, what do I believe about me? Because if you believe that you're a wonderful person and that you're a beautiful person and that you're completely content with who you are and who you're not, anybody can say anything to you and it just wouldn't matter, positive or negative.